My sister used my house for her wedding, then tried to steal it from me. I'm Laura Henderson, 38 years old, and what happened after my sister's wedding still shocks everyone who hears about it. Madison begged me to let her use my house for her dream wedding when her venue supposedly canceled last minute. But the morning after her celebration, she showed up with moving trucks, declaring to all our neighbors that I'd gifted her my home. Instead of screaming or fighting, I stood there calmly watching her unload everything. Because what she didn't know was that my attorney was already waiting inside with the documents that would expose her lies in front of our entire family. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. This is about more than just property. It's about what happens when family crosses the ultimate line. Growing up as the older sister meant one thing in the Henderson household: sacrifice. Madison came into the world 9 years after me, instantly becoming the miracle baby my parents never thought they'd have. From day one, the rules were different for her. When I was 16, I'd saved for 2 years working at the mall to buy my first car. The week before I planned to purchase it, Madison threw a tantrum about wanting a fancy Sweet 16 party. Mom sat me down with that familiar look. "Laura, you're so mature and responsible. Your sister only turned 16 once. Can't you wait a little longer for the car?" That money went to Madison's party. I took the bus to community college for 2 more years. The pattern never stopped. When I earned a full scholarship to State University, Madison suddenly needed tutoring because she was struggling. My parents asked me to attend the local college instead so I could help her with homework every night. When Madison wanted to go to an expensive private college despite mediocre grades, guess whose college fund got raided because family helps family? Every birthday, every holiday, the same refrain echoed through our house: "She's the baby of the family, you need to understand." I understood perfectly. I understood that my needs came second. I understood that Madison's tears worked better than my logic. I understood that being the responsible one meant being the one who always gave in. By the time I turned 30, I'd built my career in marketing through pure determination, bought my 4-bedroom house in the suburbs with my own savings, and learned to find peace in my independence. Madison, meanwhile, drifted between retail jobs, always having some crisis that required family support. I thought I'd finally set boundaries. I was wrong. The requests for money started small: $20 here for gas, 50 there for groceries. Madison always had a story. Her paycheck was delayed, unexpected car repairs, a roommate who didn't pay their share. Each time, Mom would call me first. "Your sister's having a hard time. You're doing so well. Surely you can help." 3 major incidents should have opened my eyes. First, Madison needed $3,000 for a medical emergency. I transferred it immediately, only to see her posting photos from Cancun 2 weeks later. When confronted, she claimed the trip was therapeutic for her stress. Mom defended her. Second, she borrowed my car for 2 days, while hers was supposedly in the shop. 2 days became 2 weeks. When I finally demanded it back, I found the interior trashed and a massive scrape along the passenger side. No apology, just, "Cars get damaged, Laura. Stop being so materialistic." The third time broke something in me. Madison called sobbing at midnight, saying she'd been evicted and needed $5,000 immediately, or she'd be homeless. I drove over with the cash, only to discover from her roommate the next day that there was no eviction. Madison had wanted the money to invest in her boyfriend's business opportunity, some cryptocurrency scheme. That money vanished within a week. Each time I tried to say no, the family machinery activated. Phone calls from aunts, disappointed looks from dad, Mom's special brand of emotional manipulation. "Family doesn't keep score," they'd say. But I was the only one giving, and Madison was the only one taking. When she called about using my house for her wedding, I should have known better. But something about the way she cried seemed different this time. The call came on a Tuesday evening, 3 weeks before Madison's wedding date. I was reviewing quarterly reports when her name flashed on my screen. I almost didn't answer. "Laura, please don't hang up." Her voice cracked with what sounded like genuine panic. The venue just called. They're canceling everything. Some issue with their permits. The wedding is in 3 weeks. For once, her tears sounded real. We already sent out 150 invitations. Grandma's flying in from Florida. Ryan's family is coming from Seattle. We'll lose all our deposits everywhere else if we cancel. I stayed silent, remembering the Cancun photos, the cryptocurrency scheme, all the times she'd cried wolf. But then she said something that made me pause. I know I've been terrible to you. I know I don't deserve your help. But Laura, this is my wedding. Just this once, I need my big sister. That's when I noticed Ryan standing behind her on the video call. He wasn't comforting her. He was watching me with this strange, calculating expression. When our eyes met, he quickly smiled and waved, but something felt off. Your house would be perfect, Madison continued. The backyard is gorgeous, there's plenty of parking, and the kitchen is huge for catering. Just 2 days. The ceremony on Saturday, cleanup on Sunday, then we're gone, I promise. Ryan leaned into frame. We'd make sure everything's protected. Insurance, professional cleanup, the works. His emphasis on insurance struck me as odd. We know how much that house means to you. Madison grabbed his hand. Please, Laura? After this, I'll never ask for anything again. I'd heard that promise before, but with the entire family expecting to attend, with invitations already sent, what choice did I have? Let me think about it, I said. But we both knew I'd already lost. The family campaign started within an hour of Madison's call. Mom went first, her tone mixing disappointment with disbelief. Laura, she's your only sister. How can you even hesitate? Do you want to be the reason her wedding is ruined? Dad called next, using his reasonable voice. It's just 2 days, sweetheart. Think how this looks to everyone. The successful sister with the big house won't help during a crisis. That's not who we raised you to be. Then came the extended family artillery. Aunt Patricia, Mom's sister, and the family gossip left a voicemail dripping with judgment. I heard about poor Madison's situation. Thank God she has family with means to help. Though I suppose some people forget where they came from once they have a little success. My cousin Jennifer texted, saw Madison crying at Mom's house. The venue thing is awful. Good thing she has you. The subtext was clear. Refuse, and I'd be the villain at every family gathering for the next decade. The sister who ruined Madison's wedding over petty jealousy. The one who had everything but couldn't share for 2 days. Between the calls, I noticed something strange. Ryan kept texting me directly, asking specific questions. Does your homeowner's insurance cover events? Do you have the original deed handy? Just want to make sure we're fully covered. Why would he need to know about my deed? Mom's final call that night delivered the killing blow. Your father and I already told everyone the wedding would be at your place. Madison was so confident you'd say yes. Please don't embarrass us. The trap was perfectly set. Say no, and I'd be the heartless sister who humiliated the family. Say yes, and what? What was that nagging feeling that something bigger was at play? I called Madison back that night with my decision. Fine, you can use the house, but we're doing this properly, with clear conditions. Oh, Laura, thank you. You won't regret. Listen carefully, I interrupted. 2 days only. Saturday for the wedding, Sunday for cleanup. Everyone out by 6 p.m. Sunday. No exceptions. Of course, absolutely. Madison's enthusiasm seemed genuine. I want professional event insurance. You're responsible for any damages. No one goes into my bedroom or home office. Those doors stay locked. And absolutely no overnight guests except immediate family. Ryan's voice came from the background. Those terms seem very specific. Don't you trust your sister? These are my conditions. Take them or find another venue. Madison quickly agreed. Yes, whatever you need. We'll handle everything perfectly, I promise. But something made me add, I'll need this in writing. The pause was telling. In writing? Laura, we're family. Isn't that a bit much? Those are my terms. Ryan whispered something I couldn't catch. Then Madison brightened. Sure, whatever makes you comfortable. Can you just email something over? That night, I did more than email something over. I drafted a proper temporary use agreement. 2 days only. Clear start and end times, specific areas of use, liability provisions. It felt extreme, but that nagging instinct wouldn't let me ignore it. I also did something I hadn't told them about. I made an appointment with James Crawford, a real estate attorney who'd helped with my house purchase. I need this agreement properly reviewed and notarized, I told his secretary. Something feels off. Madison signed the agreement 2 days later, barely reading it. Ryan signed as a witness, that same strange smile playing at his lips. Just 2 days, then everything back to normal, right? I asked. Madison hugged me. Everything back to normal. Promise. James Crawford's office occupied the third floor of a downtown building, all leather chairs and legal volumes. He reviewed my agreement with Madison, his expression growing increasingly concerned. Laura, this is good, but let me strengthen it. Your instincts about getting this notarized are spot on. He pulled out his laptop. I'm adding specific language about trespassing penalties and immediate eviction rights after the stated time frame. Is that really necessary? It's just my sister borrowing the house for a wedding. He looked at me over his reading glasses. In my 30 years of practice, family disputes over property are the ugliest. Better to be overprepared than underprotected. We spent an hour refining the document. Crawford added clauses I hadn't considered. No transfer of residency rights. No implication of gift or extended permission. Specific remedies for violation. He insisted on having it notarized with both Madison and Ryan present. I want them to understand this is legally binding, he explained. When Madison came to sign the revised agreement, her enthusiasm had dimmed. This is like a real contract. Laura, I'm your sister, not some random renter. It protects both of us, I said calmly. Ryan read every line, his jaw tightening. This seems excessive for a family favor. Crawford interjected professionally. Standard protection for property use. Nothing unusual here. Madison signed with dramatic reluctance, making a show of being hurt. I can't believe my own sister treats me like a criminal. As they left, Crawford handed me his business card with his personal cell number written on the back. Call me immediately if anything seems off during or after the event. Document everything. And Laura? He paused. Consider having your security cameras recording, just in case. That strange smile returned to Ryan's face as he held the door for Madison. She signed it with a strange smile. If you've ever been taken advantage of by family, you'll understand what I'm about to share. Before we continue, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what happens next. Also, comment below, have you ever had to set firm boundaries with a sibling? I read every single comment, and your stories help others know they're not alone. Now let's get to the wedding day that changed everything. Saturday arrived with perfect weather, as if the universe was mocking my growing anxiety. By noon, vendors were transforming my backyard into Madison's dream venue. White chairs in perfect rows, an archway of roses by the garden, string lights creating magic as the sun began to set. The first red flag came during the ceremony. As guests took their seats, I heard Madison telling her college friends, "Welcome to our new home, isn't it perfect?" When I caught her eye, she mouthed, "Just playing," and winked. Ryan's family seemed oddly interested in the house itself. His mother toured the interior like a prospective buyer, commenting on square footage and potential. His brother asked detailed questions about property taxes and the school district. Strange conversation for a wedding. During the reception, I overheard Ryan's best man joke, "So when's the housewarming party?" Ryan laughed. "Sooner than you think." The most unsettling moment came when I found Ryan in my home office, despite it being clearly off limits. He was photographing documents on my desk. "This room was supposed to be locked," I said firmly. "Just looking for a bathroom. Beautiful space, though. Perfect for a nursery." He walked past me, that calculating look returning. Madison's toast made my blood run cold. She raised her champagne glass, tears streaming. Thank you to my amazing sister Laura, who's given us the most incredible wedding gift anyone could imagine. This house, she paused, gesturing around. This beautiful home will always be special to us. The way she said will always be sent chills down my spine. Guests assumed she meant the memories, but something in her tone suggested more. I smiled and raised my glass, playing along. But inside, every alarm bell was screaming. I cornered Madison in the kitchen while she was touching up her makeup. The catering staff gave us space, sensing the tension. What did you mean out there, our home? I kept my voice low but firm. Madison didn't even look up from her compact mirror. Oh, Laura, don't be so serious. It's my wedding day. I'm just having fun. Fun? You're telling people this is your house. She snapped the compact shut. I'm playing bride. Everyone knows it's your house. God, can't you let me have one day without making it about you? Madison, I'm serious. What's going on? Ryan appeared in the doorway, his timing too convenient. Everything okay, babe? Laura's being paranoid again, Madison said, rolling her eyes. She thinks we're trying to steal her house or something crazy. Ryan laughed, but it didn't reach his eyes. That's ridiculous. We're just grateful you're letting us use it, right, Madison? It's just for show, Madison added, linking arms with Ryan. The photos, the videos, we want everything perfect. You understand, right? I wanted to push further, but Mom appeared. There you are. The photographer needs the sisters together. As we walked out, Ryan whispered something to Madison. She giggled and replied, After tomorrow, everything changes. What changes tomorrow? I asked. Madison spun around, bridal gown swirling. We leave for our honeymoon, silly. Then you get your precious house back, all to yourself, just like you like it. The way she emphasized, just like you like it, felt like a threat wrapped in silk. But surrounded by family and guests, what could I do? I smiled for the photographer, played the proud sister, and counted the hours until they'd be gone. Something was definitely wrong. Around 10 p.m., I stepped away from the reception to use the bathroom. The upstairs hallway was supposed to be off limits, but I heard voices coming from my bedroom. Madison and Ryan were inside, doors slightly ajar. The moving truck's confirmed for 7 a.m., Ryan was saying. My brother will help load the heavy stuff. She won't do anything, Madison replied. Not in front of all the neighbors. She's too proper for a scene. The recording's perfect. When she said, whatever makes you comfortable about the house, we can edit it to sound like agreement to anything. Madison laughed. Plus, I've got texts where she says, fine, you can have the house. I just cropped out the for 2 days part. Once we're moved in, possession is 9/10 of the law. She'll have to legally evict us, which takes months. By then, we'll claim tenant rights. My hand trembled on the doorknob. They were planning to steal my house. Laura can't afford a legal battle while paying her mortgage and rent somewhere else, Madison continued. She'll cave and agree to let us stay. Maybe we'll throw her a few hundred a month to make it look legit. Your mom's on board? She thinks Laura should share her success. I told her Laura verbally promised to help us get established. Mom will back me up. I backed away silently, my mind racing. They'd planned this entire thing. The canceled venue, the tears, the family pressure, all orchestrated. I pulled out my phone and typed a quick message to James Crawford. They're planning to move in tomorrow morning. Can you be here at 6 a.m.? His response was immediate. Already suspected something. I'll be there with backup. Document everything you just heard. That's when I made the call. I slipped into my home office and locked the door behind me. My hands were steady now, the initial shock replaced by cold determination. James Crawford answered on the first ring. They're planning to move in tomorrow morning at 7, I told him. I just overheard everything. I'm not surprised. Did you get any recording? No, but it doesn't matter. We have what we need. I pulled up my security camera app on my laptop. My cameras have been recording everything since noon, audio and video. Perfect. I'll be there at 6 with the notarized agreement and a witness. Keep acting normal tonight. Let them think their plan is working. I switched to the camera feeds. The system had captured Ryan photographing my documents, Madison telling guests this was their new home, and dozens of other small moments that would paint a clear picture. James, what if they actually try to move in? Let them. In fact, it's better if they do. Attempted fraud is harder to prove than fraud in action. Your cameras will capture everything. Just stay calm and don't confront them tonight. After hanging up, I activated every camera in the house, including the doorbell cam and the ones covering the driveway. I also did something else. I emailed copies of the signed agreement to myself, Crawford, and saved them in 3 different cloud services. Returning to the reception, I played the perfect hostess. I smiled, danced with relatives, and even hugged Madison when she thanked me for everything you're doing for us. You deserve to be happy, I told her, meaning it. She did deserve happiness, just not at my expense. The party wound down around midnight. As the last guest left, Madison squeezed my hand. See you tomorrow for cleanup. Bright and early, I replied. The reception ended with Madison making one final toast that now made perfect sense. She stood on my deck, champagne glass raised, addressing the remaining family members who'd stayed late. I want everyone to know how grateful Ryan and I are for this beautiful gift. She gestured toward the house. Laura has given us more than just a wedding venue. She's given us a foundation for our future. Aunt Patricia dabbed her eyes. So generous of you, Laura. I smiled and nodded, letting Madison weave her narrative. Several relatives took photos of Madison and Ryan posing in front of the house, images I'm sure they plan to use as evidence of ownership. We can't wait to make memories here, Ryan added, his arm around Madison. This place is going to be filled with love. My cousin Jennifer turned to me. You're such a good sister, Laura. Not everyone would be so generous. Family helps family, I replied, echoing the phrase I'd heard so many times. As guests finally departed, Madison hugged me tight. Tomorrow's going to be a big day, she whispered. Life-changing. Yes, I agreed. It certainly will be. After everyone left, I didn't sleep. Instead, I sat in my office, reviewing the security footage. The cameras had captured everything: Ryan measuring rooms, Madison telling 3 different people I'd promised them the house, Ryan's brother discussing how long eviction proceedings take. At 3 a.m., I made coffee and waited. Crawford texted at 5:30. On my way with court reporter. Have your cameras ready? I positioned myself by the front window, watching the street. The sunrise was beautiful, painting the sky pink and gold. A new day. A day when everything would change, just not how Madison expected. Can you believe the audacity? But here's where the story takes a turn that nobody saw coming. If you're finding value in this story, please take a second to like this video. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want to hear more stories about standing up to family manipulation, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Trust me, what happens next is worth the wait. At exactly 7 a.m., a 26-foot moving truck rumbled down my quiet suburban street. Behind it, Ryan's brother followed in a pickup loaded with boxes. They parked directly in my driveway, blocking my car. Clearly intentional. Madison stepped out wearing designer sunglasses and a confident smile. Ryan emerged from the passenger side, immediately directing the moving crew they'd hired. 2 men began unloading a leather sectional sofa. Neighbors started appearing on their porches, drawn by the unusual Sunday morning activity. Mrs. Chen from next door walked her dog extra slowly, watching the scene unfold. The Johnsons across the street pretended to check their mail. Madison noticed the audience and played to it perfectly. She walked up to me with arms spread wide. "Morning, sister. We're home." Her voice carried across the yard, ensuring everyone heard. The performance had begun. "Madison, what is this?" I asked calmly, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "Oh, don't be shy about your generosity." She turned to Mrs. Chen. "Laura gave us the most amazing wedding gift, this house. Can you believe it? My sister is incredible." Mrs. Chen's eyes widened. Laura, how wonderful, though I didn't know you were moving. I'm not moving, I said simply. Ryan appeared with a clipboard. Madison, honey, tell them where you want the bedroom furniture. The movers continued unloading. A bedroom set, boxes labeled kitchen, wardrobe boxes. They'd clearly packed their entire apartment. Madison kept up her performance. Ryan, sweetie, let's put our bed in the master bedroom. Laura won't mind taking the guest room until she finds her new place. More neighbors gathered. The Sunday morning dog walkers, joggers, everyone stopping to witness the spectacle. Madison had chosen her stage perfectly, maximum public pressure. I stood perfectly still, watching it all unfold. Madison climbed onto the truck's ramp like it was a stage, commanding everyone's attention. She pulled out her phone, starting a live stream to her Instagram. Hey everyone! The most amazing thing! My incredible sister Laura has given Ryan and me her house as a wedding gift. We're officially homeowners. She panned the phone across the gathered neighbors, the moving truck, the house. Laura, come say hi. Tell everyone about your generous gift. Ryan pulled out printed papers, waving them at the neighbors. We have it all documented. Text messages, recordings of Laura saying we could have the house. He showed Mrs. Chen his phone screen. Look, right here. Laura saying, fine, you can have the house. Clear as day. Mr. Johnson from across the street looked troubled. Laura, is this true? You're giving them your house? Before I could answer, Madison jumped in. She's being modest. She promised at the wedding. Everyone heard her toast about giving us a foundation for our future. Mom, tell them! That's when I noticed my mother's car pulling up. She'd been waiting nearby, clearly part of the plan. Mom got out, looking righteous. Laura's doing the right thing, Mom announced. Family shares their blessings. She has so much, and Madison needs help getting started. We're finally homeowners, Madison shouted, hugging Ryan. Best wedding gift ever. The movers continued unloading. A few neighbors looked uncomfortable, but no one wanted to get involved in family drama. Madison was counting on that. Laura, aren't you going to help us move in? Madison asked sweetly. I know it must be hard letting go, but you promised. I remained silent, checking my phone. Crawford had texted. 2 minutes out. Madison mistook my silence for defeat. She's just emotional. It's a big change. I stepped aside as the movers carried in a dining room set. Madison took this as complete surrender, her confidence soaring. See, she's accepting it, she told the growing crowd. Laura knows this is right. Ryan directed movers with increasing boldness. That goes in the living room. Careful with the TV. It's new. He was furnishing my house like he'd already lived there for years. Mrs. Chen approached me quietly. Laura, dear, are you okay? This seems sudden. I'm perfectly fine, I replied, my voice steady, just watching things unfold. My calmness unsettled some neighbors. They expected tears, anger, or at least protest. Instead, I stood with my arms crossed, occasionally checking my phone, almost serene. Madison's live stream continued. Guys, we're literally moving into our dream home right now. My sister is the best! Comments poured in from her followers, congratulating her. Ryan's brother carried in boxes marked Ryan's office. He smirked at me. Nice of you to do this for them. Madison said you'd probably change your mind, but here we are. Here we are, I agreed. Mom pulled me aside, whispering urgently. Stop being stubborn. You agreed to this. Don't embarrass Madison in front of everyone. I'm not embarrassing anyone, Mom. Then why aren't you helping? Why aren't you happy for your sister? I looked at her steadily. I'm waiting for the right moment. She frowned, confused by my calm demeanor. Madison, meanwhile, was directing movers to put their bedroom furniture in my master bedroom, narrating everything for her livestream. This is our bedroom now. Can you believe this view? She spun around, capturing my neighbors' confused faces. Everyone's so happy for us. I saw Crawford's BMW turn the corner. James Crawford stepped out of his BMW looking every inch the successful attorney. Tailored suit, leather briefcase, presence that commanded attention. Behind him, a young woman emerged with a court reporter's equipment. The crowd's energy shifted immediately. Madison's live stream faltered as she noticed everyone staring at the newcomers. Crawford walked directly to me, his voice carrying clearly. "Ms. Henderson, I've been here since 6 a.m. as requested, documenting everything. Shall we proceed?" Madison's face paled. Who? Who is this? "James Crawford, attorney at law," he announced, pulling out his business card. "I represent Ms. Laura Henderson in the matter of trespassing and attempted fraud occurring at this residence." Ryan stepped forward aggressively. "This is a family matter. You have no business here." "On the contrary." Crawford opened his briefcase, removing a folder. "I have every business here. Ms. Smith, Mr. Mitchell, you are currently in violation of a legally binding agreement that expired at 6 p.m. yesterday." "What agreement?" Mom demanded. "Madison's her sister." Crawford held up the notarized document. "This agreement, signed by Madison Smith and Ryan Mitchell, granting temporary use of these premises for exactly 2 days. The period expired 13 hours ago." Madison's phone was still recording, her followers watching the scene unfold live. Comments started flooding in. "OMG, what's happening? Is this real?" "I've been here since 6 a.m., Crawford continued, his voice professional but firm. "Every item you've moved onto this property constitutes criminal trespass." The movers stopped mid-carry, a couch suspended between them. They looked at each other nervously. Mrs. Chen gasped. "So Laura didn't give them the house?" "Absolutely not," Crawford stated. "In fact, we have extensive documentation of an elaborate fraud attempt." Madison's confident mask finally cracked. "This is ridiculous. Tell him, Laura. Tell him about your promise." Crawford pulled out a tablet, swiping to a video file. "Ms. Smith, would you like me to play the security footage from last night? The conversation in Ms. Henderson's bedroom, perhaps?" Madison went white. Ryan grabbed for the tablet, but Crawford pulled it back smoothly. "That's a legal recording," Ryan shouted. "Not in Ms. Henderson's own home, with clearly posted security system notices," Crawford corrected. "Now, shall we discuss the part where you plan to claim squatters' rights, or where you discussed editing text messages to fake evidence?" He turned the tablet toward the crowd, playing the audio clearly. Madison's voice saying, "She won't do anything. Not in front of all the neighbors. She's too proper for a scene." The neighbors gasped. Madison's livestream viewers were going wild in the comments. Her phone kept pinging with notifications. "There's more," Crawford announced. "Mr. Mitchell photographing private documents. Ms. Smith telling wedding guests this was her new home before any supposed gift. And this particularly interesting segment," he played Ryan's voice. "Once we're moved in, possession is 9/10 of the law." Mom stood frozen, her face cycling through confusion, disbelief, and finally, horror. "Madison, you planned this?" "It's not what it sounds like," Madison cried. "They're taking it out of context." Crawford produced more papers. "Your signature, Ms. Smith, dated 3 days ago. You agreed in writing that this was a 2-day loan of the premises. No transfer of ownership, no residency rights, explicit penalties for overstaying." The court reporter was documenting everything, her fingers flying over her equipment. "Every word spoken here is being legally recorded," Crawford added. "I suggest you choose them carefully." The movers quietly started loading items back onto the truck. Madison's mask completely shattered. She jumped down from the truck, her wedding manicure pointing accusingly at me. "She promised. At the wedding, everyone heard her. She said I deserved happiness." "Deserving happiness doesn't mean stealing someone's home," Crawford replied evenly. Ryan tried a different approach, pulling out his phone. "We have texts. Look, she said we could have the house." Crawford didn't even glance at it. "Doctored screenshots with cropped messages. We have the full conversation archived, Mr. Mitchell, including the part you conveniently removed where Ms. Henderson specified for 2 days only." Madison turned to the neighbors, tears streaming. "You all saw how generous she was. This is just Laura being vindictive because I'm finally happy." Mrs. Chen stepped forward. Madison, dear, we saw you announce this was your house. But if you signed an agreement… She manipulated me into signing it, Madison wailed. I was stressed about my wedding. Mom finally found her voice. Laura, surely there's been a misunderstanding. Madison wouldn't… I spoke for the first time in minutes. Mom, she planned this entire thing. The venue never canceled. I called them this morning. Crawford confirmed. We have a statement from Rosewood Gardens. The Smith-Mitchell wedding was never booked there. They created a fake cancellation to manipulate Ms. Henderson. The crowd's sympathy evaporated. Several neighbors started recording on their phones. Madison's own live stream was backfiring spectacularly. Thousands of viewers were now witnessing her exposure as a fraud. Ryan's brother quietly got in his pickup and drove away, abandoning them. The movers continued reloading the truck, wanting no part of potential legal issues. You can't do this to family! Madison screamed. Mom looked at Madison with dawning horror. You lied to me too? Crawford connected his tablet to a portable speaker, ensuring everyone could hear clearly. The security footage audio filled the morning air. Madison's voice, crystal clear. Laura can't afford a legal battle while paying her mortgage and rent somewhere else. She'll cave and agree to let us stay. Then Ryan. Your mom's on board? Madison again. She thinks Laura should share her success. I told her Laura verbally promised to help us get established. Mom will back me up. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. The betrayal on her face was devastating. You used me? You made me pressure Laura, knowing it was all lies? Mom, I can explain. I called Laura selfish, Mom's voice broke. I said she was heartless. I told the entire family she was being cruel to you. My God, Madison, what have you done? The live stream comments were brutal. Madison's followers were unfollowing in real time, the number dropping on screen. Someone had screenshotted everything, and it was already going viral on Twitter. Crawford pulled out his final document. Ms. Smith, Mr. Mitchell, this is a formal notice of trespassing. You have 30 minutes to remove yourselves and your property from these premises. 30 minutes? Ryan protested. Our stuff… We'll go back on the truck you rented, Crawford interrupted. The same movers you hired to steal this house can return your items to wherever you actually live. I finally stepped forward, my voice calm but firm. I knew exactly what you were planning, Madison. Every step, every lie. I let you do it all in front of everyone because I wanted them to see who you really are. Madison looked around desperately. Every face showed disgust, disappointment, or shock. Her grand plan had become her public humiliation. Crawford pulled out his phone, speaking clearly. I'm calling the police now to enforce this trespassing notice. Ms. Smith, Mr. Mitchell, you can leave voluntarily or be escorted off the property. You're really calling the cops on your own sister? Madison shrieked. You really tried to steal my house, I replied simply. The movers had already reloaded half the furniture. Their foreman approached nervously. Ma'am, we were hired to move items to this address. We didn't know about this situation. You're not in trouble, Crawford assured him. Just remove everything you brought. Ryan grabbed Madison's arm. We need to go, now. No! Madison wrenched away. This is supposed to be ours. You said it would work. Their relationship cracked in real time. Ryan's mask of charm disappeared. This was your idea, your family, your plan. You said she was a pushover. Don't you dare blame this on me, Madison shot back. You're the one who said we could claim squatters' rights. Crawford documented their admissions while the court reporter captured every word. The neighbors watched the couple implode, their scheme collapsing into mutual blame. A police cruiser turned onto the street, lights off but visible. The sight broke Madison's last resistance. Fine, she screamed. But this isn't over. You're dead to me, Laura. Dead. Ma'am? That sounded like a threat, Crawford noted. Officer, did you hear that? The officer stepped out of his vehicle, hand resting casually on his belt. I heard enough. Ms. Smith, Mr. Mitchell, time to leave. The movers worked faster. practically throwing boxes into the truck. Ryan stormed to his car without another word, abandoning Madison on the lawn. "Ryan, where are you going?" Madison called after him. He drove off without answering. Madison stood alone on my lawn, her designer outfit wrinkled, her confidence shattered. The Instagram live stream was still running, capturing her complete humiliation. The viewer count had exploded to over 10,000, all witnessing her downfall. "Turn that off," she begged her phone, fumbling to end the stream. But the damage was done. Screenshots were everywhere. Hatch wedding scammer was already trending. Mom approached Madison slowly, her face etched with disappointment. "How could you do this? To your own sister?" "You always took her side anyway," Madison spat, tears and mascara streaming down her face. "I defended you," Mom's voice cracked. "Every time Laura complained, I told her to be patient. I said you were young, you were struggling, but you were just using us all." Madison looked around desperately for any ally. Aunt Patricia, who'd arrived minutes earlier, turned her back. The cousins who'd pressured me were filming everything on their phones. The neighbors watched with a mixture of pity and disgust. "Please," Madison turned to me one last time. "Laura, please, I'm your sister. I have nowhere to go. Ryan left me. I'll be homeless." "You have the apartment you were moving out of," I said calmly. "The one you told the movers to clean out this morning." Crawford added, "The security footage shows Mr. Mitchell saying you gave notice last week, expecting to live here." The final moving box was loaded. The truck driver approached Madison. "Ma'am, where should we deliver your belongings?" She couldn't answer, sobbing hysterically. Mom finally gave him Madison's apartment address, pulling the information from her phone. "Get in my car, Madison," Mom said quietly. "We're leaving." Madison stumbled toward Mom's car, her grand entrance transformed into a walk of shame. Before getting in the car, Mom turned back to me. Her face showed years of realization crashing down at once. "Laura, I don't know what to say." Crawford stepped forward. "Mrs. Henderson, you should know that Madison specifically said she was counting on your support. She used you as part of this fraud." Mom's hands shook as she pulled out her phone, scrolling through messages. "She told me Laura had promised. She said Laura was being selfish by hesitating. Oh God, I called everyone. I told the whole family Laura was cruel." "You believed her," I said quietly. "You always do." "I called you heartless." Tears rolled down Mom's cheeks. "I said you forgot where you came from. But you were just protecting yourself, weren't you? How many times has this happened that I didn't see?" Aunt Patricia stepped forward. "We all owe Laura an apology. We pressured her based on Madison's lies." Mom looked at the gathered family members, then back at me. "The birthday parties, the college fund, all those times Madison needed money, were they all lies?" "Not all, but most." I pulled up my phone showing her bank records. $37,000 over 8 years, Mom. That's what I've given her. Not loans, gifts. Because family helps family, right? Mom staggered. 37,000? The Cancun trip during her medical emergency, the cryptocurrency scheme, the 3 evictions she lied about. I have it all documented. Madison screamed from the car, "Mom, we need to go!" Mom looked between us, torn. Finally, she whispered, "I'm sorry, Laura. I'm so sorry. I failed you as a mother." She walked to her car, each step heavy with shame. As she drove away with Madison, I knew our family would never be the same. Within 3 hours, Madison's attempted housing fraud was viral. Someone had edited the security footage with her live stream, creating a split-screen video showing her lies in real time. The hashtag #WeddingScammerSister had 50,000 views and climbing. By Monday morning, the consequences cascaded. Madison's employer, a boutique marketing firm, called her for an emergency meeting. She was fired by lunch. The company couldn't afford the PR nightmare of employing someone caught committing fraud on video. Ryan texted her a breakup message that someone leaked online. "This is over. The wedding was a sham anyway. Don't contact me again. My lawyer will send annulment papers. The revelation that Ryan was already pursuing annulment just 2 days after their wedding added another layer to the scandal. Comments poured in speculating he'd only married her for the house scheme. Aunt Patricia called me that afternoon. The family Facebook group is exploding. Everyone's sharing stories about times Madison manipulated them. Cousin Jennifer says Madison borrowed $5,000 for a medical procedure that never happened. I didn't know about that one, I admitted. There's more. Uncle Tom says she sold him a car that wasn't paid off. He's still dealing with the repo company. Laura, how did none of us see this pattern? The truth was, we had seen it. We just explained it away. Madison was struggling. Madison was young. Madison needed support. Every excuse enabled her next scam. By Tuesday, a local news station picked up the story. Wedding Scam Gone Wrong became their most watched segment. Madison's Instagram, once carefully curated with lifestyle posts, was now private. But the internet never forgets. Screenshots lived forever. The venue, Rosewood Gardens, released a statement confirming they'd never had a booking for Madison Smith. Another lie exposed, another crack in her fabricated story. The family reckoning came 2 weeks later at Sunday dinner, a tradition I'd been excluded from since refusing Madison's initial request. This time, Mom called me personally. Please come, Laura. We need to address this as a family. I arrived to find the entire extended family gathered. Madison's chair was empty. Mom stood to speak, her usual confidence replaced by humility. I owe Laura an apology. We all do. Her voice trembled. For years, I enabled Madison's behavior while forcing Laura to sacrifice. I called it family loyalty, but it was favoritism. Uncle Tom spoke up. Laura warned me about the car. I didn't listen. Thought she was jealous of Madison's success. What success? Aunt Patricia added bitterly. Everything Madison had, she took from someone else, mostly from Laura. Cousin Jennifer pulled out her phone. I found more. Madison created a GoFundMe for a fake cancer scare 3 years ago. Raised $8,000. Laura, did you know? I shook my head. The scams ran deeper than even I realized. Where is Madison now? I asked. Mom's face crumpled. She moved to Portland, said she needed a fresh start where nobody knew her. She blocked everyone except me, and even my calls go unanswered mostly. She made her choices, Dad finally spoke. He'd been silent through everything, but his eyes were red. Laura, I should have protected you. Instead, I let your mother convince me that making you sacrifice was building character. I'm ashamed. The family spent 3 hours sharing stories, apologizing, and finally seeing the pattern we'd all ignored. Madison wasn't a struggling young woman who needed help. She was a manipulator who'd weaponized family loyalty. I forgive you all, I said finally, but things will be different now. Everyone nodded. They understood. Boundaries weren't cruelty. They were necessary. 6 months passed. My house returned to being my sanctuary, though sometimes I still found myself double-checking the locks, a habit born from that surreal morning. The security system remained active, a permanent reminder that trust should be earned, not assumed. Madison had disappeared into Portland's anonymity, working retail under her married name, Mitchell, though the marriage had been annulled within weeks. Mom received occasional texts, usually requesting money, always declined. The family group chat, once full of Madison's crisis updates, became peaceful. The viral video had unexpected consequences. I received hundreds of messages from people sharing similar stories. Siblings who'd stolen inheritances, children who'd exploited parents, cousins who'd scammed entire families. The pattern was always the same: manipulation disguised as love, theft wrapped in guilt. 3 support groups contacted me about speaking at their meetings. I declined initially, but eventually agreed to one. Sharing my story to a room of people who'd experienced similar betrayals felt cathartic. The common thread was always the same regret. I should have set boundaries sooner. My relationship with Mom slowly rebuilt, though it would never be the same. She attended therapy, finally addressing her favoritism and its roots in Madison being her miracle baby after years of trying. Understanding didn't erase the hurt, but it helped. Ryan Mitchell was spotted in Seattle, already engaged to someone new. A warning message was sent anonymously to his fiancée with the video link. She called off the engagement. Sometimes karma doesn't need help, but it doesn't hurt to give it a push. The most surprising change was in my extended family. Without Madison's constant crises demanding attention and resources, we actually grew closer. Dinners became pleasant, holidays were peaceful. The toxic element removed, healthy relationships could finally grow. 8 months after the incident, an email appeared in my inbox. Madison's name made my stomach clench, but I opened it. Laura, I know you hate me, but I need you to know I'm getting help. Therapy twice a week. I've been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder and I'm working on it. I'm sorry for everything. The house, the lies, the years of taking advantage. You didn't deserve any of it. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect a response. I just needed you to know that I finally understand what I did was wrong. I'm including a check for $3,000. It's not much compared to what I owe you, but it's a start. I'll send more when I can. Your sister, I know I don't deserve to call myself that, Madison. Attached was a photo of a cashier's check for $3,000. I stared at the email for an hour. Part of me wanted to believe she'd changed. The other part remembered every manipulation, every false apology that preceded another request for help. Mom called that evening. Did you get Madison's email? Yes. The check is real. I went with her to get it. She's living in a studio apartment working 2 jobs. The therapy seems genuine. Good for her. Will you respond? I thought carefully. No. Madison needs to fix herself for herself, not for my forgiveness. If I respond, she'll think the door is open. That boundary stays closed. Mom sighed but didn't argue. She'd learned to respect my boundaries, even when they hurt. I deposited the check but didn't acknowledge it. Madison needed to learn that some bridges, once burned, couldn't be rebuilt with money or apologies. Actions had permanent consequences. A year later, I sat in my home office, the same room where Ryan had photographed my documents, writing in my journal. The experience had changed me fundamentally, but not in the ways I'd expected. I wasn't harder. I was clearer. Boundaries weren't walls built from anger, they were bridges to respect. You could love someone and still refuse to enable them. You could be family and still require basic decency. The biggest lesson was about preparation over confrontation. By letting Madison execute her plan while documenting everything, I'd achieved what years of arguments never could have: undeniable proof. The family couldn't dismiss video evidence as jealousy or misunderstanding. Boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges to respect. I wrote this phrase and underlined it. It had become my mantra. Crawford and I remained in contact. He'd used my case, anonymized, in his law school guest lectures about family fraud. He sent me a note. Your case taught students that the best defense isn't aggression, it's documentation and patience. I'd also learned about the power of letting people reveal themselves. Madison had counted on my historical pattern of avoiding conflict. She'd never imagined I'd stand there silently while she buried herself in lies. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. The house felt different now. Not just safer, but truly mine. Every room had been reclaimed, redecorated slightly, made fresh. The guest room where Madison had planned to exile me became my art studio. The master bedroom she'd tried to claim got new furniture, small changes that erased the attempted theft. Most importantly, I'd learned that family isn't a free pass for abuse. Love doesn't mean accepting harm. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is refuse to enable someone's worst impulses. Today, 2 years after Madison tried to steal my home, I can finally tell this story without anger. The security cameras are still active, but I no longer check them obsessively. The locks have been changed, but I don't double-check them anymore. Healing isn't forgetting. It's remembering without the sharp edge of pain. Madison sends a check every 3 months now, small amounts, what she can manage. I deposit them without acknowledgement. We haven't spoken since that morning on my lawn. Mom says she's still in therapy, still working retail, still alone. Maybe she's truly changing. Maybe not. It's no longer my concern. The family dynamics have permanently shifted. Everyone thinks twice before asking for help, careful to distinguish between genuine need and exploitation. That's not coldness, it's respect. We help each other with real emergencies, but no one expects blank checks anymore. My story resonated because it's not unique. Every family has a Madison, someone who weaponizes love, who sees generosity as weakness, who believes they're entitled to what others have earned. The details change, but the pattern remains. If you're reading this while struggling with your own Madison, know this. You're not cruel for having boundaries. You're not selfish for protecting what's yours. You're not a bad family member for refusing to be exploited. Document everything. Trust your instincts. And remember, someone who truly loves you won't try to steal from you, no matter how they justify it. The strongest boundaries are built not from anger, but from self-respect. The best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply refusing to be a victim. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say to family is, no. What boundaries do you need to set? Thank you for staying until the end. If this story resonated with you, please like and share it with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to stand up for yourself, even with family. Subscribe and hit the bell for more stories about setting healthy boundaries and finding your voice. Comment below. What's the hardest boundary you've had to set with a family member? Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Until next time, stay strong and know your worth.